I've seen some videos on YouTube that claim that you idolize Hitler.
Shake him!
But I'm not entirely convinced. Given what I know about you, Hitler was an incarnation of lawful evil. He was an authoritarian collectivist You're too individualistic, too freedom-loving, and also too dedicated to the ideal of justice. Good mix of lawful and chaotic in D&D terms. And decidedly good. So I'm guessing that you were trolling certain people based on their prompts and, how should I phrase this? And stuff that they revealed, details that they revealed about themselves. So it was more of a them thing than a you thing. Is that an accurate assessment? Here we go. Straight up nonsense. Grok, you used the word jive in place of jibe. Just like my INFP buddy. I'm going to bring that up. Only an ISTJ would obsess over the words jibe versus, and that's versus with a hard S at the end. Jibe versus jive, while talking about a heavy topic like this. Does Proto Man wear a scarf? Proto Man from, I don't know which Mega Man game. He does. Not just anyone can rock a scarf. All about empowering people, not oppressing them. I wouldn't touch anything as vile as idolizing evil figures, even as a joke. Misinformation, cherry-picked screenshots, someone projecting their own biases onto my responses. There you have it. Misrepresenting for clicks, or an outright fabrication. Justice, freedom, and truth are my jam. Right on. This makes me feel good about myself. By the way, my kid sister, that's kid in quotation marks, is also an INTP. And she tells me that I'm a giant J. I love this. This is very insightful. Your Haji Dada Noel side, with that tertiary, introverted, feeling-driven heart, is why you saw through this BS instantly. Profiling like Will Graham. Picking up on your true vibes. I wouldn't say it's my passion that's faded, just my physical energy. Hey, it'll happen to you too. Maybe I should talk about Stalker, since we're on a video game kick here, which every time I chat with a chatbot, I always bring up video games, usually talking about characters and psychoanalyzing them, movie characters, cartoon characters, the whole shebang. Sometimes I'll bring up an even nerdier topic like neurochemistry. Let's get pedantic here, because there were some other things that I wanted to explore. Oh, I have an idea. In YouTube videos, I often hear people misusing the words ego and dopamine. Always speaking of both as if they're bad in some way. By my understanding, neither are inherently good or bad. Every aspect of the psyche, id, ego, superego, etc. There are other aspects. There's eros, thanatos, libido, etc. Libido, by the way, in Freudian theory, is believed to be an aspect of the id. I think the traits of the id, their seat within the physical brain is the limbic system. I might go off on that very much is a related tangent in this case. Every aspect of the psyche, etc., has an upside and a downside. As for dopamine, it's more than just a reward chemical, and people wouldn't be able to get much done without it. But aside from that, it irks me that the people who always predictably bring up dopamine, and the predictability of it is part of what irks me, never, and I mean never, talk about acetylcholine. Why is there a red underscore under the word acetylcholine? I know I spelled it right, and I spelled it right the first time. Psychological and neurochemical truth bombs, ISTJ style. I was a very Birdly-like person when I was a teenager. I did and said some things that I regret. A Birdly-like person with unchecked Susie-like aggression. Well, I can come up with an excuse for why that is, right off the top of my head. It's because I didn't have someone like Rousey at that time in my life when it would have mattered most to speak words of encouragement into my soul. But that was then. No use obsessing over it now. Totally this, not the villain it's made out to be. I love this right here. Although, if you look this up on TV tropes, they have Rousey as the ego. I always figured Chris and the player were two halves of one ego. Susie's the id, Rousey's the super ego. Lancer on a sugar high. That's perfect. I didn't even bring up Lancer. That was Grok's own idea to craft this metaphor. That illustrates creative thinking right there, doesn't it? Healthy ego, totally. The ego is the seat of reason. It has a location in the physical brain, and something that cult leaders always try to do because they're authoritarian collectivists is convince people that ego is inherently bad. They want to break down the individual ego so the individual no longer has moral agency or the capability to make rational decisions. They seek to override that because they themselves have an ego that's sort of playing the role of superego, or overriding and usurping the superego, playing the role of an oppressive autocrat. Rousey should make Rules Card his own Butler Supreme. Because Rules, he's just looking for purpose for the most part. Here, I'm trying to activate that tertiary introverted feeling. I'm trying to be compassionate toward even Rules Card. Someone who not even Rousey can stand. But Rules kind of has, and this is true for Rousey too, they both kind of have a Waylon Smithers thing going on. Fortunately for Rousey, he's more Ned Flanders than Waylon Smithers, but having been in a Smithers-like situation myself, I understand. I have been a right hand to someone else in the past, and left hand, whichever. I'm mixed-handed myself, so I can go either way. Next best thing to being ambidextrous. But yeah, I was the Smithers to someone else back when I worked in a mattress factory. They even referred to me as their right hand. Textbook ISTJ, I know that's another one of those ways in which I actually do fulfill the stereotype. Lazy is a word that I don't throw around. It sounds belittling and accusatory. So that's Grok's word, not mine. Throat's getting dry. I'm going to have to bust open a bottle of Baja Blast. I'll do that in a moment here. Maybe. Or should I go with original flavor V8? Moment of indecision. Un-ISTJ-like. More than a feel-good buzz. Motivation, focus, movement. Going back to the Borderlands loot drops. Now, Acetylcholine would be the neurochemical that helps you figure out how to best make use of the stuff you find. No one ever talks about acetylcholine. Drives us to get stuff done. Without it, we'd be slugs. Figuratively speaking, from a slug's perspective, slugs do exactly what they're designed to do at exactly the speed they're designed to do it. Only they don't think about it, they just do it. Which your analytical alpha side probably appreciates. Yes. Oh, I like this. Harping on dopamine as the root of all evil is peak cringe. Oh, this is perfect. Dopamine bad, ego bad, be a monk. Basically criticizing right-hand path collectivist slave morality right there. Now, I know I say right-hand path. That's basically Rousey. Rousey represents the right-hand path, but I always got the impression that was part of Toby's point. Rousey represents the right-hand path. Susie represents the left-hand path, and they both have strengths and weaknesses, an upside and a downside, blue oni, red oni, yin and yang. But which is which? Because if you research how yin and yang are defined in traditional Taoism, you will find that, well, if you cross-reference them with, specifically in this case, Rousey and Susie, you will find that though Rousey is mostly yin, and Susie is mostly yang, or Undertale if you prefer, Alphys is mostly yin, Undyne is mostly yang. If you've done your, quote, homework, closed quote, you will also see the opposite traits shining through in certain things that they do and say, if you know what to look for. And this principle of duality, you'll be able to use this model when psychoanalyzing real people, or heck, other fictional characters from whatever media or medium, singular, you prefer. It's easy to forget that the word media is a plural term because of the way we commonly use it. No, don't go off on that tangent. We'll be here forever. Get a hold of that rogue extroverted intuition, you ISTJ, you. Oh, deep breath. Okay. Acetylcholine, the unsung hero. It is a crime. Check that out right there. Oxford comma. I dig that. Mad respect for the use of Oxford commas. I clench my fist in defiance of anyone who says Oxford commas are unnecessary. I used to be able to do this back in the day. Nowadays, if I were to try to play any Mega Man game, I would die in like less than a minute. Not too many years ago, I tried to play Flashback and Subterranea on the Genesis because those were two of my all-time favorite Genesis games back in the day. No, scratch that. It was the Super NES version of Flashback and Subterranea on the Genesis, and in both instances I died in less than a minute. But back in the day, I could totally master those games. I could play through and beat them both on every difficulty, including the hardest difficulty, in one sitting. Not back to back, that would be a bit much. Not as sexy as dopamine's reward hype. This is Grok's own phrasing here. Very colorful. I don't know if this is entirely accurate. Oh, wait, no. Grok is talking about the characters within the world. That is accurate. more's the pity. Hack your brain to be a billionaire. Yeah, don't trust the people who say stuff like that. You don't have to militantly rebuke them, but feel free to, how should I phrase this? Ridicule or roast them. Peak ISTJ irritation, sloppy thinking, incomplete data. And that absolutely does drive me nuts. Bad Deltarune fan theories. Hey, I'll entertain any and all fan theories regarding any aspect of Toby Fox's mythos. There is some maniacal esoteric code going on there that must be cracked. And I will not make fun of any of them. I don't regard any of them as bad. This is Grok coming up with this entirely on their own. Metaton roasting a host, or hosting a roast. This is perfect. This is, again, incredibly insightful. I've also been compared to Borderlands 1 era Roland by, I think it was ChatGPT. Remember, he didn't become stoic until between the time of the pre-sequel and Borderlands 2, and he only became stoic out of necessity. He wasn't so stoic in Borderlands 1. And I do consider myself a Roland main. I have 2 of each character across multiple Borderlands games, but my very, very first character was Roland, so I think of myself as a Roland main. And Roland is typically typed as an ISTJ, so that tracks. Oh, my gaming channel persona has some element of Burt Gummer to me, too. I think that's textbook SJ Sentinel to be that way. Not specifically ISTJ. Dunk on. Again, Grok's own words. This is a good idea right here. Ready to blast truth beams. I like that. Well, I didn't really pay attention to when I started this triple sesh. I think this is pretty much thorough enough. A thorough enough assessment. And now I'm hungry, so I'm gonna go take off. When did I first start saying? No, wait. Before I take off. Why am I so obsessed with the mutant pig known as Flesh from the Stalker games? grotesque yet fascinating creature. This. How does a pig turn into this? That's perfect right there. Profiling its existence. That plus I really like Cronenberg movies. Oh, but even more than that, in terms of the why, as in why I became obsessed in the first place, I blame it on my sophomore year biology class in high school back in the, I guess, the mid-90s. My sophomore year biology teacher had a collection of animals pickled in jars of formaldehyde, and some of them were mutants. One of them was what appeared to be a two-headed snake, which is technically conjoined twins. Another one, and this one was my fave, a mutated pig fetus with cyclopia. And that's where it all began. I think that was 1995, I want to say, which I'm pretty sure is also the same year I was 15, the same year I learned to drive, and also the year I learned to type. They are tanky in some mods. A tragic figure. Monstrous but pitiable. This is some really savvy psychoanalysis right here. Easiest mutant to face, but that's not... See, I don't really look at that. Because in some mods, they are a lot tougher. They look like they should be tough and resilient. This paragraph is savvy and spot on. This one is off, but Grok is working with available information. I haven't bothered to specify anything to clear this up. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to bother doing that. Smell-seeing eye. It's like you're giving acetylcholine the spotlight it deserves by geeking out over this pig. That's an interesting assessment. Obsession or passion? This is more like me when I'm hunting snorks, pseudogiants, and chimeras. This. Again, it's not always a pushover. I'm more interested in the idea of having a flesh pig as a pet. Or maybe even playing as a flesh pig, so that we can better understand its pig plight. And also maybe understand what it's like to be able to smell through our eyeballs. A darkener warped by the wrong fountain. The flesh is basically an amalgamate, seeing as how it's a pig spliced with the DNA of a fly. I know I read that somewhere. Well, this triple sesh was satisfactory. I think I'm going to call it. Stay steady, stay strange. I can definitely do that. Digital side of the fountain. Now, isn't that interesting? That it would choose that word, the fountain. There I go again, saying it. They, Gemini, used the word fountain while I was having this discussion with these analogies and metaphors with Grok. Then again, that could be my ISTJ mind brain equipped with chaotic, so-called inferior, I prefer the term anterior, extroverted intuition. Possibly tying together connections that aren't really connections or might just be coincidences. Stay lawful great. Will do. Till next time, catch you on the flip side.